It's Friday, just after 7 a.m., and that means it's time for Aaron's Acoustic Coffee Break here on 98.1 The River, brought to you by Smashing Guitars. It's been a beautiful week here in Asheville. Clear blue skies every day, beautiful autumn moon every evening, and the air has been just cool and crisp enough to kill any kind of haze that would muddy the view of colors on those final leaves falling. When you stop and smell the coffee, or in this case, stop and smell the coffee break, it reminds you how wonderful the world is when we step outside our cubicles and our contracts and our petty differences, if only for a moment. It's no wonder that collaborators Bob Thiel and George David Weiss wrote a song about their home planet and a light strange from the dark mid-60s turmoil they were living in. Weiss was a product of the Juilliard School of Music and writer for artists like Tom Jones, Mel Torme, and Elvis Presley. Bob Thiel was a successful producer in his own right, and it is thanks to them that many of the younger generation today even know who Louis Armstrong is. Their song, What a Wonderful World, was the most successful of Armstrong's career. Now, Louis was a New Orleans cat, also known as Satchmo Pops. When he released What a Wonderful World in 1968, he was the oldest male artist ever to have a hit at the time. Armstrong was 66 years old, and the lyrical content of the song struck a chord with the optimistic jazz musician. He, being a black man from the South, really understood the importance of the civil rights movement happening at the time. And though he was never vocal in politics, Armstrong contributed a lot of financial support to Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So, keeping my eye on a glass half full and observing the wonderful world around us, I encourage you to do the same. Here's the product of Bob Thiel and George David Weiss on 98.1 The River, Aaron's Acoustic Coffee Break.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them blue for me and for you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day and the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of the people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying that I love you. I hear babies crying, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of the people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying that I love you. Now I hear babies cry, and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yeah, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
All right, What a Wonderful World on 98.1 The River, Aaron's Acoustic Coffee Break. Every Friday morning just after 7 a.m. we do that. And it's brought to you by Smashing Guitars on Broadway Street in downtown Asheville. You can go there and check them out. They have a lot of custom-built electronics, foot pedals, stop boxes, if you will, that are made right there in-house. It's called Endangered Audio. You can find out more on them at smashingguitarsasheville.com. They're also on MySpace, Smashing Guitars Asheville. And of course, vintage guitars. If you're looking for something that's hard to find, a little more classy, they used to make guitars a lot better back in the day. You can find some vintage instruments down at Smashing Guitars on Broadway in downtown Asheville. Keeping it real and keeping it local. We have more music up next on 98.1 The River.